Before we hit the intro music, I wanted to introduce to you guys the Jochum Strength Insider. The Jochum Strength Insider is our online training platform that takes all of the ideas that we talk about on this podcast and implements them into a program that is available to you at the touch of your fingers. Our goal with the Jochum Strength Insider is to create better movers, to level up your life, and to move forward from where you are. We do this in a holistic fashion. Not only will you receive a program that has helped hundreds of people become better movers, you'll also receive access to our app that allows you to track everything, has video links for all exercises, and allows you to be in constant communication with the Jochum Strength coach. Along with this, you'll get our 30-page PDF nutrition and lifestyle guidelines. That includes everything from what to eat, how much of it to eat, why we're eating it, meditation habits, and other lifestyle habits that we implement with our clients to really level up their lives. If you're interested in trying out one of these programs, use podcast 25 in the discount section right before you pay for 25% off your first program. Boom.
This is the Jochum Strength Podcast. Take the leap down the rabbit hole with us as we interview elite level guests to unravel what high performance really is.
All right, well, Nino, welcome to the podcast. I'm excited to have you here, legend. Let's go.
Oh man, excited too.
Dude,
First one.
This is your first podcast?
This is my first podcast. I've done like
Hell
commentary.
yeah, dude, popping the cherry. Let's
First
go.
podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I first came across your page when somebody sent me your 360-degree clean attempt. And I'm like, fuck it, dude.
Oh.
I got to go and try this now. So then I spent like the next 4 hours eating shit trying to do that 360 clean variation. So that one's on you.
Dude, that thing was like a dream thing on my phone sitting there for a while because I just have like video ideas on there. And I was just like too scared to do that one. And then one day I was like, I'm just gonna try it. And then even though I fail, I was like, I'm just gonna post it. Let's just see what happens. And I just posted it. And I was talking to my brother and I was like, dude, you think this would go viral? I just looked at it. I was like, you think this would go viral? And then believe it or not, like a couple hours later, I was like, dude, they're trying it. There's people trying it right now. And I'm like looking at it, I'm like, oh my God, someone's gonna die. And then like some other like influencers are like, I don't know how you got this in your head. And I'm just like, well, like I had like a background in like, like skate parks and everything, like BMX and everything like that.
Oh,
I had
yeah.
like a background in that, and I was like, what's some crazy stuff I could do with this barbell? And then I was like, let's just bump it out there, just spin real quick and try and catch this thing. But so the main idea when I was doing it was like, it was a 360 clean. So I was gonna try and bump it up, and then catch it in the front rack. And I was supposed to catch it in the front rack, like in a squat. But it's just, dude, it wasn't.
You were going to
rolling.
catch dude, there is no shot.
I was gonna catch it in the front rack. I was trying to catch it right here, and then people attempted it, just catching it in like the deadlift or like at the top of the pool. And I was like, yeah, I feel like if I told people like, no, you got to catch it in the front, I'd be like, oh, I'd probably get so many hospital like notices. Like, yeah, this guy attempted your little trick here, and I was like, oh, just don't bill me,
So you said you had a history of like BMX and like skateboarding and stuff. When did you start doing that? That's pretty interesting. I did not know that.
It was years ago when I was a kid. Believe it or not, dude. So when we were rolling up. Well, first off, I tried rollerblading, sucked at it. I could ride it, but I'm just
How old were you when you started rollerblading?
Oh, dude. 8? I was 8. I was 8. So I tried rollerblading, sucked. Tried skateboarding. I fucking barely get my body off the ground with a board. Then I tried BMX, and I was like, dude, this bike is hella heavy because it's from Walmart. And then me and my buddy were back in there, like, dude, let's try scooters. And I was like, you're not down. So we were not, dude. I rode scooters before scooters was a thing at the skate parks. And I was like, all right, dude. And then after a while, like growing up, you're like, man, it's kind of lame. But then it like blew up all of a sudden. And then that's what I got into. It was like, what do you ride, bro, at the skate park? I'm like, oh, man, see that scooter right there with the training wheel on it, bro? Yeah, it's me, dude.
So you were the original, like Sam Solik is like a professional diver, and seeing those videos always cracks me when he like gets on the diving board as just a unit and hits the most perfect dive. That's you, but in the BMX park.
Dude, yeah, but dude, like Sam, he does not look like he dives, which is trippy to me because I saw him do like a front somersault or a 1.5 dive. I was like, that guy should not be doing that. He's defying gravity right now. I was like, and I was like, look, I was thinking about like how like when you splash, you're supposed to make like the minimum amount of like water that splashes up. I'm like, there's no way. There's so much mass going into the water at one time, dude. It's just gotta fucking go up somewhere. Freaking wild to me.
What was the master trick that you got done on that scooter? What were you
Oh,
pumping
dude,
out?
it was called. Oh man, it was back in the day. It was called a. It's like when you like have it right here and then you throw it around like up and over your head and then you land back on. I think it was called like a Bri flip. That's what it was called. The guy named Brian invented it back in the day. But yeah, dude, that was a crazy thing, man. That was like a weird hobby of mine that no one knows about. It's like deep, so deep in my Instagram, so deep in there.
That's some deep
Yeah,
Nino lore
that's
right
it
there. I
there.
love it.
Yeah.
How did you take that and transition it into something like Olympic lifting? What was kind of the journey there?
So when how'd I get into weightlifting or how'd I come up with a trick for that for weightlifting?
How'd you get into weightlifting first? Like, how did you take
Oh,
the background of like I'm riding
all right.
scooters into now I want to go like be a
Oh,
strong
okay.
person type thing? What was
Yeah.
that transition?
I mean, I was in middle school a little bit of the time, so I was like, man, scooters is kind of lame. I'm kind of getting made fun of at the skate park. So maybe I should switch to something else that'll, fit my style a bit. So I was a stocky guy, I played football and everything like that. So obviously you go through like the cleans sometimes in there, and I was so ass at cleans. I used to hate cleans during football season. I was like everything was so bad. And then I think after a while I got out of high school, I joined the CrossFit gym. That's where I learned what like a snatch is and like what a clean and jerk is. So I kept it on there. And then in my head, I was like, dude, this is so cool. CrossFit's cool, other than the cardio. Cardio sucks. So I'm just gonna stick to these two little things. So that's all you have to get good at. So I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna do this. And then I just started doing that on my own before it was actually like a big deal like in the southern community or southern SoCal over here in Cali. So I just started doing that on my own. So I was like doing YouTube videos. You know how it's like, oh, this is how you clean, this is how you snatch in slow-mo. Dude, I had like so many slow-mo videos of just the Chinese people trying to emulate what they're doing. And I was like, yeah, I don't look like that. But then I was trying to learn on my own for like 2 years, and then I stopped for a while because I was like, you know what, it's summer's coming. You got to get big and shredded out. So I did bodybuilding for like a whole another 2 years. And then after that, I moved. I was in Japan at the time. I lived in Japan. That's like another fun fact. And then I came to the States again, and then I found a coach out here, and I was like, hey, I just want to lift, and then just see what I can do still. And then I threw up some good numbers. I think I snatched like 115, which is like 240 something, 240 something, 250 something, and then I clean and jerk like 330. And then that was kind of like I just went in there just like let me just boost my ego real quick just to show people like a little domination before I go into this gym before I start doing stuff. And then they're like, "Hey man, you want to join the team?" I was like, "Hell yeah, I do. I've been trying to look for a team all my life." So I took me on my wing. It's my first coach, it's my only coach I've had. His name's Coach Isaac Cruz. So he's been taking me under his wing, and then after that, I just took it from there, stuck to weightlifting, and I was like, "All right, weightlifting's be my identity now." And I was like, "Might as well do stuff with it." So here I am doing 360 cleans now in my garage.
The progression is great. I had a similar lore arc there with I went to this. I don't know if you know this, Tristan, but I used to go to the skating place in St. Cloud. Do you remember the skating place in St. Cloud?
Oh yeah, dude. Many
Oh
a
yeah, dude.
birthdays parties were had
Oh,
there,
dude. We
dude.
went
Just
every
wipeout
Friday.
after wipeout.
Every Friday night we went there for probably 3 years straight in middle school with my
Oh, dude,
gang.
hell yeah.
Unlimited rollerblading, laser tag, and pizza and pop. It was the best deal ever. But I didn't get into sports until middle school because some girl said she wouldn't talk to me unless I was an athlete, and all I did was rollerblade. Like that was my athletic
Dude,
activity at the time.
rollerblading is an athlete, bro. Do you not see the stuff they do,
Well, it
dude?
didn't count in this situation. So I was like, shit.
Dude.
So I had to give up rollerblading like you gave up scooter because it wasn't cool in middle school. I'm like, this is bullshit.
Oh
Imagine
man,
how
I
different your
did.
life could be.
Dude,
Did you have the parachute pants? Did you wear the parachute pants while rollerblading?
no, dude. I was a kid that went in there with shorts, would
Oh,
speed skate and eat shit and just destroy my shins.
hell yeah. Shorts, no knee pads. Hell yeah, dude.
Never. No helmet, no knee pads, nothing. We were raw dogging in there.
Just raw dogging, man. That's freaking wild.
So the creativity aspect, and you have this BMX background. It's cool to like hear that because the creativity piece is something that I get asked a lot about in like our exercise creation. Like, how do you become creative? And I'm
Oh
like, to
yeah.
me, it kind of comes naturally because like I was a weird fucking kid. Like I was into like fantasy novels as a kid, and like just had the massive creative background before I got into strength conditioning. Strength conditioning was
Yeah.
something that I got bullied into, right? So like, how do you go into the like the realm of creativity? Like where does that come from? Is it just like I want to see, like I'm bored today? Did you reach a point in which I'm like, okay, like driving up these numbers isn't that much fun anymore. I just need a different stimulus, or I just need something fun to do today. Like what was kind of the process there to come up with some of these cool variations that you have?
Dude, yeah, man. Like, sometimes they just come out on the fly. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I have like a crazy, like, weird mind that sometimes, like, dude, this would be sick if I did that. Or sometimes if I'm driving, I'll be like, yeah, that's a good idea. And I just jot it down in my notes. It'll be on my to-do list to do if I ever want to do it, or if I want to like get hurt that day. I'm like, yeah, let's do that today. Like the beer, you see the beer one where I'm like, I clean it up there and I shotgun the beer like in the bottom of a squat. Yeah, I was clean that day and I was like, man, I'm so tired of this. I'm like, I need a drink. And then I just got my beer ready and I was like, oh, you know what'd be crazy right now? I shotgun the beer at the bottom of the squat. And that took me like 3 tries. I wasted 3 beers. I got this whole garage was just like smell of booze and beer. And I was like, I already committed still this far. And I was like, I was gonna keep going with it. But yeah, most of the creativity comes like spontaneous. They're like spontaneous like ideas that just come out. And then sometimes when I'm really digging for it, dude, I'm not gonna lie, Chat GPT, bro. I just put in there, yo, what's a crazy thing I could do today? And I'll just keep adding to it, like incorporate a barbell in what I can do. And then it's gonna be like, you could do this. I'm like, nah, that's kind of lame. What if I did this? Like, yeah, like even like I think I did Chat GPT a little bit of the fucking I don't know if you could cuss on this thing, but I just do
Oh
sometimes.
yeah.
But I'm like I Chat GPT the fucking 360 clean, and then all they're thinking about the 360 clean is like, yeah, you can clean and jerk 360 pounds. It's like, no, that's not what I want to do. I want to throw this bar up, and I want to 360 this motherfucker, and I want to catch it right here. Then I was like, all right, so I guess I'm just gonna start making stuff up on the fly. But most of it is spontaneous. If that somehow makes sense, because it just comes to me and I'm just like, this sounds like a funny thing to do today, or like maybe we should switch things up. Because you know how training gets, it gets all boring and repetitive. And you're just like, let's do some crazy stuff today. Like, what kind of variations can we do? It's not going to translate to the sport per se, because I don't think you need a shotgun of beer in the Olympics. Perhaps maybe like the beer Olympics, but if they make that a sport, sign me up. But I mean, some of it was just, it's entertainment for myself sometimes, just to switch things up a bit.
What's two questions here. What's like one of the worst fails or like ideas you've had that you're like, oh, this will go right, and it's just went catastrophic. Like what's one of the worst fails you've had? And then I mean, if you're gonna entertain it, what's some secrets that are in the notepad right now? Like what's
Dude,
on the
oh
hit
yeah,
list for
man. The
for a
notepad.
secret.
It's all in the phone. Like, oh, so for the shotgun beard on the squat, all right. That one came out first. Like stuck it in between my like compression shorts, and then I had it in the front rack. And I'm trying to reach for it as I'm like in the front rack, and then like the barbell's just sliding off me. And I'm like, dude, I'm gonna get so hurt doing this. And then I just got like a little pad after that. I was like, yeah, I'll just make it easy on myself. That's like one of the fails I had. Other than the 360 clean, yeah, that one's like a suicidal mission. I can see that. That was like, I'm probably never gonna land this. Yeah, I'm like, dude, this whole phone is just like scrolls of ideas are there. I think one that you might see would be like this one is coming up. I was thinking about doing like a Zercher snatch, but I think it's been done before. That's why I might have to cross it off the list. There's some like crazy like stuff, like
A
even in
Zercher snatch, like
powerlifting,
you start in a
like a
Zercher and you
Zercher
throw it up
snatch.
into a snatch.
Yeah, you like Zercher it up and then you toss it over your head and you catch it at the bottom of the
Oh,
snatch.
that's a dope ass one. I'm
Yeah.
gonna
And
try
then I was
that one.
like,
That
that
one's
might be
sick.
crazy right now, right? Dude, that might be crazy. Like for people that are not too well versed in like Olympic weightlifting and they have no body awareness. Yeah, you might die, you might not. If you make it, congrats. It might go viral for a bit. And then if you don't make it, then I guess you could use your funds for something else, like hospital bills or something like that.
Dude, I'm gonna be honest though. You talk about not transitioning. That 360 clean, I had my best clean day in a long time after sticking that because of I think it was because of how hard I was yanking the bar off the ground to throw
Maybe.
it up in the air and get in that circle. Like after I got there, I was like doing cleans. I'm like, this is the easiest thing of all time. Like I'm almost positive.
It's
I
the new
made a
Q
YouTube
now.
video of it, but I'm almost positive I set a PR on that day.
That's a new Q, bro. The 360 is a new Q. Just bump it out there like you're gonna 360 it.
Yeah, it's like when you had the what was your post? It's like when coach has more legs and you just jump up underneath it.
Yeah. I think that day we were just like, because he was telling us like, yeah, you need more legs. I was like, dude, I don't know how much more legs you need, bro. So I recorded it. I was like, oh, you want to see more legs, dude? I'll show you more legs. I just did like that, like weird stuff, and I was like, yeah, you like that? See all those legs I did? It's like I don't know how much you need because there's like some cues that I'm like, what does that even mean?
What is that?
Yeah, dude, there's like I don't know, because the weightlifting is like all like cues, 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 and then I got like three cues in my head. I'm like, I already forgot the first cue, dude. And then I'm just like pulling and praying, and I was like, yeah, that sounds like a good cue to me. Let's pull and pray. It's a good one for life too. But
So you were talking about early on how you were terrible at cleans, but you watch your technique now, and it's very clean. Like, it looks beautiful. It looks like some of those slow-mo videos. Like
yeah,
I'll slow-mo
very
your
clean.
videos. Yeah, it looks good. Um, what was the transit like? When did you start to actually master it and like really develop it? Was it when you got the coach here, or like when did you start to be like, okay, I'm on to something here with this clean technique?
Yeah, it actually was, dude. Believe it or not, for the naysayers, a coach helps. Like people are like, I can learn it on my own. Like, dude, no, you need someone to look at you, man. He like my clean has been through a journey. Like if you notice now, like you know how my feet like they don't come off the ground usually on
Yeah.
my cleans. Yeah, like that came like developed over time. Like what works for me because usually people like jump up and they spread their legs out. And then it just stuck for me just because I'm so short and the bar only has to go yay high. So I was like, I can just pull it up this high and I'll just fly right under it. And that took a little bit to develop, like the timing in there. People think it's like, oh, why are you doing that? It's gonna like disperse all your energy and it's gonna make it like weaker. You won't get full extension. I'm like, dude, it's working out fine, bro. See that 375 I just did? It's working out fine, bro.
And what's the goal with the cleans and snatches? Do you have any like big numbers you're trying to hit?
Yeah, so for the snatch, dude, my snatches are so ass. Like I don't, I just, I
Hey,
think I'm
bro,
just scared.
welcome to the
I think
club.
I'm just scared, dude. I think I'm just scared of the bar for some reason. Like, so my snatches, I want to get to like 135 at least. I think that's like close to 300. I don't know. It's not click. Like some days will be good, like how weightlifting is. Some days are good, some days are bad. Mostly bad days. But when you go through peak, you're like, oh, dude, it's not gonna go up. And then come meet day, you're like, oh, it's flying. We're good. But yeah, like 130 for the snatch, and then for the clean and jerk, I'm hoping like whatever 175 is in pounds. So just like three big reds with the collars on. Because I've done 170. It's just the three reds without the collars. So but when you do it in meat, they always put the collars on. So it's always nice to make the colors match.
Be able to do. You talked about
Yeah.
how there's mostly bad days in Olympic lifting, and I think it's because so like I just started snatching 8 months ago, and so I think a lot of it has to do with that it's a novel movement, but there is nothing more fucking humbling than a snatch, bro. Like some days I will go in there, I'm like I am a god, and it's like my one dopamine hit per every 6 months of doing it. And I'm like, I got this. This is amazing. And then the next
Yeah.
4 weeks, I'm like, I feel so stupid doing this movement. Like I'm like, it's the most humbling exercise of all time.
It's like a weird, like it's a weird animal. The snatch, man. Like some days you're like, oh dude, I might go pro. I might be at the Olympics soon. And then like the next day you're like, yeah, I'll take it back. I might just quit today. I might quit the sport. Dude, it's weird, man. It's like, I don't know. Maybe the body's just like, yeah, you're not good today. You should stop. And some days you're like, nah, bro, you're about to qualify today. You're going to the Olympics. But it's a humbling thing because it's either like I don't know. Something about the snatch is like I think people are more scared just to even go into weightlifting just because there's something like legit over your head. I think that's what people can't come around by is like, dude, if that bar drops, you're like gonna die. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not gonna drop it though. I think if you've been in the sport so many times, you're like, I'll just dump it forward. I think that's why most people are scared to go into weightlifting. So kudos to you for coming into the sport, man. It's a
So,
crazy one.
so completely different thing here. You mentioned having a coach and like the sport of weightlifting, and then a lot of people who listen and who do weightlifting are doing it to get better at like a particular sport, that isn't weightlifting. You always hear it from strength and conditioning coaches of like, oh, we're not trying to just get them better in the gym, we're trying to get them better at their sport. So does the
Yeah.
opposite like apply to you guys? Like, is there things you do outside of the weightlifting that you see big benefit from? Like almost the opposite, like, hey, we're trying to get better at our sports. Like we got to do some stuff, outside of the barbell. If that's like, I don't know if that's kind of a dumb question.
Yeah. I know what you mean. So like, good thing for our sport, we only got to be good at two things, thank God. But like, yeah, so we do we have accessories. I mean, I'm like always notorious for skipping them just because I'm like, they're recommended to do, but you're supposed to do. That's what's gonna help like build strength and stuff. Like weightlifting is, I think I've heard a lot. Weightlifting is a skill, and then you get better at your skill the more technique you do. But then the weight's gonna go up once you get stronger at everything else. So usually the accessories is where it's at. Like squats is always on there. I don't really count that as accessory just because I mean squats is always necessary, but like Bulgarian split squats is always a good one. Everything overhead presses is always a good one. I don't, but translating to like other sports, I mean, it's good for explosiveness, but luckily for my sport, all I have to do is just be good at those two things, really, which is pretty easy to do.
Well, it's
Less
also
of a
the
headache.
you can definitely tell like that the fact you said it, you did the scooter and like the BMX type stuff. You can tell you have done that stuff though, right? Like
Yeah.
you see some guys that have just lifted their whole lives and they don't have the movement literacy that you have, like the fluidity that you move. And I think that's a huge component of like somebody like power lifters that I work with online. You give them 1 tiny ounce of athletic movement for the first time in their life, and they're like, "Oh my God, dude, I feel amazing. This program's magic." It's like, no, dude, you're finally just not moving like an absolute brick wall, like, and you're doing something. You can tell that with your BMX background. Like, it's kind of a cool, like, looking at everything that like kind of builds the pyramid into going into what your like 1%, like your 1% thing is the Olympic lifts. But if this is all you do, you become a stiff like board. And you see and even like you look at some of the old like Russian guys, like their GPP, they're training going into some of these weightlifting things. They're training like a savage athlete. Like it's kind of cool, like all the jumps and plyometric
Yeah.
training that they're doing.
Those guys are, I don't know what they're on, but I need some of that. I was like, whatever you guys are taking, horse sperm, I'll take it, dude. If you guys haven't got it, just don't drug test me. But dude, man, like their training regimen is so crazy. Like when I actually look deep into their training regimen, they're training like 5 hours like per training session because they're just doing so much stuff. And I was like, do you guys like not work or what? Because but it's like it's literally their job, which is crazy to me. And I was like, man, that sounds fun. It's like a side gig for me.
It's, and what's the difference in your approach to like being an Olympic lifter and being like a content creator too? You know, like how there's definitely a disconnect
Yeah.
between the two, like being creative and like actions. You're also like putting up numbers, which I think makes the content easier. It's like when you're just a beast and you're actually good at the thing, like content is so much easier to do than just like coming up with it. But like, what's kind of your approach and how do you
Yeah.
like split up those two things?
Yeah, man. Like usually, like all training always comes first. Like you always got to get your sets in, everything like that. And then honestly, man, it's like when you're training and you're training by yourself, sometimes you get bored. So you're like, yeah, let's spice this up a bit. So I feel like, I mean, if you can't have fun in the sport that you're in already, you're like, I'm like you're on borderline of quitting. So you always want to, spice it up a bit, do something a little different, and then hopefully do something that'll impress other people on the page. Because honestly, what with weightlifting, what I'm trying to do for this content stuff, like the biggest one that blew up was the clean in the kitchen. That one blew up a
That
lot.
one was awesome.
Sometimes I'll keep getting like notifications for that. It's crazy.
I actually that was the one when before you came on, I was like, dude, why do I like kind of recognize them? And I'm like, I've gotten recommended this like completely different
Dude,
algo, and
yeah.
I was like, well, this is I've made it into the strength and conditioning world.
Dude, yeah, that one's bumping everywhere. I'm like getting recognized at random places. Like, are you the guy that cleaned in the house? I was like, yeah, maybe. Depends who you are. I'm not trying to get in trouble right now. But yeah, usually like with that stuff, I'm trying to like because the weightlifting community is so small. So you're like, what can we do to branch out of it? Like there's a few amount of like Olympic weightlifting content creators. So it's kind of like we're trying to put us on the map, trying to get people like to say like, oh, dude, weightlifting's fun, even though we're doing 360 cleans and doing tempo squats in between sets, hitting our lives. But I was trying to branch out the weightlifting community a bit. So usually the content's good because I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I've been thinking about going to weightlifting. Like I had guys tell me that, and I was like, dude, try it, man. And then they'd be like, oh, I don't know how. Like luckily there's Google and YouTube to help you out a bit. But if you want like real help, man, just let me know and I'll always look at your guys' stuff. So I've had a couple people like message me like, hey man, can you look at this technique? I mean, I'm not a coach, but I'm like, yeah, a little bit little tweaks here and there. Like, oh sick, thanks. So it's cool. It's cool when you get to do that. Like when they're like they notice that you're not just doing the crazy stuff just to get views, but you know, views are kind of good sometimes. But like, you know, you gotta show them that like, oh, weightlifting's not all just sit in the garage type stuff and like just lift by yourself doing your own thing. But dude, we're like a small community out here trying to branch out a bit.
Dude, and then we talk about this a lot on the podcast too, where it's like the best way to get really, really good at something is to do something for a long period of time and get like thousands and thousands of reps in, right? And the only way to do that is to love it. And if you are running your face into a wall, like I was a hammer thrower in college, and like one of the things that kept me in the sport was just like slight variations of the hammer throw. Like we were throwing like different weighted hammers or doing goofy stuff with the hammers too. Because otherwise it's like, dude, you are doing this. It's so monotonous that it makes you want to die. You're like, I can't do this. I just need like one tiny break. I need one fun thing, one piece of dopamine hit. And that one piece of dopamine hit makes me go do the rest of my reps for the rest of like the next 2 months. Right. And I think that's the long-term process. And I think a lot of times the seriousness of these sports and the seriousness of training, I think kills the sport a lot of times for a lot of athletes. When you could have a great athlete that you just give them a tiny bit of fun, like you were saying, like just give them one variation, one thing that gets them into it, one thing that gets them intrigued with it, shows them that it can be fun, shows them that it can be goofy, and then that gets that athlete hooked for the next 6 years in that sport.
Yeah, dude, you did hammer? That's wild, dude.
Oh yeah, dude, I loved it. We just had a guy on yesterday where we were talking all about hammer.
Did you throw discus or shot put at all, or
in high school, and shot put in college. I wasn't very good at the discus, unfortunately.
Oh man, I did that in high school. I think I just joined because I didn't want to run, and I was like, yeah, let's just do that. So they always called us the fat guy squad, and I was like, I don't care, you guys are running right now.
Dude, that's better than me. I joined for a girl in track. I went to long jump. Oh. Coach Dahlstrom Tristan saw me one day at long jump, and he's like, "You're not doing this. You're throwing." Sent me to throw, and for the next 4 years, I never saw a girl again. We were just in a throw circle by ourselves with a bunch of other beefy dudes. I'm like, this sucks. Like, dude, this is not why I got into this sport.
Dude, it's a blessing, man. Because like I remember track meets, they're like, all right, you guys don't throw till this time. We're like, all right, dude, we're gonna go eat for like the next 3 hours, and we'll be back. Because they're all the throwers. We're like, we're gonna go eat for the next 3 hours. Let us know when you guys are done running. All right, cool. I don't know. I like track. Track was a fun sport for me when I played. So I threw the shot put and discus at the time too.
So
I wasn't good though.
So for weightlifting, I'm pretty curious about this, not having like a super big knowledge base. With competing in other sports, like some sports, you compete 70, 80 times a year. And some sports you compete like twice, like an MMA fighter fights once to twice per year. Like what is that kind of schedule like for weightlifting? Is it more sporadic or are you competing like 30 times? I'm leaning towards like twice a year, but what is that actual schedule?
Yeah, it's more sporadic. Depend like so you want to if you want to qualify to go to nationals or to go to any national event, you got to compete like with between a certain day. I think like December is when like finals is coming. I didn't qualify for that because I was just goofing off. But usually like the local meets are always like here. I think there's always like one a month. Usually there's always one a month somewhere. But if you want to go to like a specific one, then you got to wait till they come out. Like I think my next meet is literally in next week. That's crazy. That's wild. Yeah. So like I think it's more spread. Like depends how many meets you want to do, but then you got to allow your body to rest, get back into peak condition again. Because usually when you start off, you're always doing like crazy amount of volume to get your body like strengthened up again to get back into weightlifting shape. And then as you taper off and start going into the heavy days, they'll give you like a deload. And then after that, you should be primed up, ready to go for the meet. And if you like keep doing that through like the whole year, if you keep going like one meet a month, dude, your body's gonna get tanked. Like my CNS would get so fried. So luckily, like we put it out, we're like, all right, let's aim for this meet. So we have this much long to prep. It's almost like like bodybuilding a little bit too. If you really think about it, like, all right, so we're gonna do these shows back to back. So it's like competing. You're gonna do these back to back. You're gonna stay primed. So have them have the competitions like kind of close to each other, where you're still like in peak condition. But then if you like take like a crazy break, you gotta have to like go back and repeat the cycle again of like all the volume work and everything like that, and like periodization and everything. But it's crazy.
What's the
You get kind
difference
of tired a little bit.
like competing versus training lifts wise? Because I know I haven't worked with very many Olympic lifters going to meets, but power lifters is like a big population of ours, and they all talk about the difference in like training PRs versus like meet PRs. What's that like in the Olympic lifting world, especially for you? Like, do you like the meets and do you PR at the meets, or is it too stressful? Like, what's that kind of approach like?
Oh, dude, I love meets. I feel like I do way better at meets. Probably because like there's so many people looking at you, and you're like, yeah, I don't want to make a fool of myself right now. So you're kind of like, it's either I make this and I don't embarrass myself, or if I just drop everything and I just bomb out, and I'm like, oh well, that sucks. I'm probably never gonna compete again. But I think for me, I think I like the aspect of actually like competing just because it puts more pressure on you. Usually when you're in a garage, you're like, oh, or training with the team, like, I don't care if I miss this. I have nothing to lose. But when you're at a meet, you're like, dude, I'm about to embarrass myself if I miss everything right now. So I think for me, I do way better at meets, in my opinion, just because there's more at stake, like my reputation and my ego, which is kind
How
of bad.
how much different are your PRs? Like, are they significantly different, or is it a few pounds? Like, is it like a a 0.5%, 1% thing, or is it like a 25-pound jump between your like training
For
PR and meet PR?
For that one, I think, yeah, for that one, it's like not like maybe like a 3% gap, depending if how we're pushing. Usually the coach won't go crazy 100% unless he knows you're gonna get it. Like if he knows that building up to your competition, your snatch has been like sitting around 94%, like that was the highest you've gone. He might put the 94% as your highest number, or he might put it as your second attempt. That way, if you actually get it, then he'll go bump up a little higher. But usually we stay pretty conservative just to get on the board for a number. And then if you're feeling good that day and frisky, jump it on the third attempt. We're just going like, yeah, dude, load it up, put on whatever you want. But it's pretty good to do that because you're like, I have nothing to lose. This is my last one.
Well, all these are so true too. Like, I've never done an Olympic lifting meet, but even just like the difference between when I clean with somebody there and like I'm such a bitch when I clean by myself. It is unbelievable. It's like
Yeah,
I'll get to the
dude.
bottom, like I'm not fucking fighting this up. Like this sucks. This hurts. And
Yeah.
if I'm with some boys, I'll clean 20 pounds more than I have the entire
Oh
week
hell
because
yeah,
I'm
dude.
like, I'm
It's
not
like
fucking
that
missing this.
motivation thing, man. You're like motivated because training by yourself sucks. Let me tell you, it sucks. You're like, dude, what am I gonna motivate myself? But when you're with the boys, dude, with the boys, training with the boys, maybe a beer on the side. Yeah,
The
everything's gonna
boys and
go up
some
that day,
beer.
man. You're not missing anything.
No, it's actually legendary. Because it's like every other lift, I feel like I can kind of grind through. And like, I don't know. I think a lot of this is a technique issue, but it's like once you start getting into the 300-pound cleans, it just hurts at the bottom. And I'm like, God damn, bro. Like I need somebody to scream at me to get this up. Otherwise, I'm gonna be
Yeah,
so
man.
soft here. Like I'm dropping this
Pause
bar.
squats, bro. That's how you do it.
Some pause
Just
squats.
sit at the bottom at pause squat, dude. Just hold that thing for like 5 seconds, dude. Just keep doing that every day, bro. You're never gonna get stuck in the hole.
What's the run us through like a training day for you? Are you training
Yeah,
today?
yeah. I actually have like heavy singles today. I have to go up to a heavy single in my clean and jerk today.
All right, run us through today. Like what's today look
So
like?
today, so since it's coming up, so on Monday I had heavy singles for snatch. So he switches it up, but I snatch and I clean and jerk on the like every day. So it basically goes throughout it's almost the same throughout the whole week, but it's just different variations. So for the snatch, since we're so close to the meet prep, I'll do like a snatch with a lighter set, like at 70%, maybe the highest at 80. That way I'm not winded by the time I get into clean and jerks. And from clean and jerks, you're gonna bump up from 70% all the way to like 95. And then after 95% on the board looks there, it's just gonna say HS, heavy single. So you're just gonna start adding weight on, like however big of a jump you want to go. I'm notorious for just doing crazy jumps because like screw it, I don't want to get tired, so I'm just gonna put on a higher weight. But I think yeah, it's usually for that. So I'll do like a heavy single. Thank God it's singles. Anything more than one rep is cardio. So thank God for that. And then after that, I'll probably do like a squat variation and like a pull, like either a snatch pull or a clean pull. And then with the squat, it would either be a back squat or front squat. It usually doesn't change most of the time. The only thing that changes most times is like accessory work. But even that doesn't change a lot usually. It usually stays the same throughout the whole week. But usually there's always some type of technique work and then the strength work at the end.
And so it's just snatch, clean, squat, pull.
Dash
That's our
clean,
day.
baby. That's all we gotta do, dude. Two things, man.
How much with those kind of sessions where you know you're really working up and like you said, this is the sport. Like you're not trying to get better at this to get better at a sport. Like this is the sport. How
It's the
big
sport, yeah.
how big of like rests are you? Like how long are these sessions? You know, because a lot of athletes like I want to be in and out of the gym in 45 minutes to an hour. Like
Oh
I
man.
like because I got other stuff to do. But like how long is a session? It's gotta be long.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I like to take my time on like heavy days usually because I just be like, I gotta have all this energy to go up to as heavy as I want. So usually the most I've had was like a 3.5 hour session most of the time when it's like really grueling and you gotta like bust through them. So yeah, usually about 3 hours is usually a good point because you'll rest maybe like 1 to 5 minutes depending on what the next set is. Like going from 70 to 85%, I could probably rest like 30 seconds to a minute just because I'm so comfortable with those percentages. So those are like pretty easy breezy. But once you start getting to the 90s, you're like, all right, let me rest a bit and then let me get my mind focused because I'm like so scared of what I'm supposed to load up on there next. You're like, I don't even know if I'm gonna get this. So that's I think most of it is like a mental game when you're weightlifting. You're like, oh shoot, I've never threw this on the bar before. And sometimes you're like, oh, I'm by myself. If I die, no one's gonna come save me. So you kind of think about stuff like that a little bit.
That's funny to hear that that fear doesn't go away, like even with
Yeah.
your experience. Because like I never have that. Again, bench squat, deadlift, never have that fear. Like it's just like
Really?
like when I do, because I can load it up, I know like, and I know how to bail out of it. Whereas like, and I know like I'm much better at knowing like I'm gonna get this or I'm not. With the clean and snatch, it's like there's so much technique. It's like this could go the easiest thing ever, and I could PR and win, or I could get
Yeah.
absolutely bodied because I did one thing wrong. And it's so like, so I'll sit at the fucking bar for like 3 minutes before I go and lift it, like trying to like lock the fuck in, dude.
Yeah, dude. How do you bail out of a bench?
I don't know. I just send it.
I just roll it onto my neck, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro. And I just went.
We've had sessions where I sit it there and I roll it down and throw it off, and then the other one I had one the other I think it was like 6 months ago or so. I just didn't put clips on it. And I'm like, fucking A, dude.
Oh,
I'm just
dude. I
dumping.
guess that's a safety feature, right? You just take off the clips. You're like, ah, we're good.
We're good. We're set. Well, last
Yeah.
I just posted a video on Instagram. Fucking last month I was going for a bench, and I think I had like 335, 340 or something like that on the bar. And I look at the I just random lifetime guy. I didn't really need it. I just wanted the lift off, and I'm like, don't touch the bar unless I'm dying. Like, don't touch it. He's like, yeah, I got you, bro. Go up. As soon as there was a slowdown on the bar, he grabs it and picks it up, and he's like, all you, bro. I'm like, bro, that was not
Oh,
all
you,
me. I felt the
bro.
entire bar come off of me.
He's
So
like,
yesterday I went in there and did the same exact way. I'm like, fuck it. I'm going no lift off, no lifetime spotters. I don't trust any of you here. And we just raw dogged it. If we died, we died.
dude, that thinking about that, I'm like, dude, how do you spot weightlifting? If you think about that, how do you spot that?
Oh, you can't.
Like, let's say like you're doing a clean and jerk, yeah, and then you clean it up to the front squat, and you're just sitting in the hole. You just have someone come behind you, just like, oh, all you, bro.
Dude, you
Until you
haven't
get
read the
it up,
CSCS
all the
manual,
moves.
dude. You cannot
Yeah,
spot
right.
you cannot spot safely those techniques, dude. Come on, read the
Oh
manual.
man. Dude, that'd be hilarious. Like, oh, see that right there. That'd be a crazy video right there. Like, yeah, how to spot weight, how to spot in Olympic weightlifting right there. You'd be like, all right, cool. Someone could be holding up like someone's shoulders like during the snatch or something like that. Yeah, so
No, what you got to
that's
do,
how it usually comes
you got to
out.
get them on ladders with some like
Oh yeah,
straps, like ready to catch you if you drop it, and then they're
dude,
just
that'd
standing
be
above you and
crazy. Just hold
they
it.
set. Uh,
Yeah.
with your level of technical proficiency in these lifts, what is like the approach like to make that next step? You know, like once you've had thousands and thousands of reps in, like, do you still have technical things you're like, fuck, I still can like
Oh,
reach this next
dude.
level? Like what's that like? But like, what are you working on right now? Is it all just a strength game because your technique's so
Oh
good?
man, dude, technique is, in my opinion, is like it's never perfect in weightlifting. It's crazy. Like I'll send my coach a video, and I'm like, dude, not this is 10 out of 10. I'll be like, bro, check this. Or I just say rate it. He'd be like, yeah, that's an 8. And I was like, dude, what the hell? It's like, I don't know, there's like there's so many minuscule things and so many like crucial things that you look for when you're like critiquing videos. Is like leg drives one of them. How's your like posture as you're pulling up the bar? Like how's your top pull? How's your extension? Dude, there's so many like nitpicky things you can just pick out just from weightlifting. That is like you could fix this, you could fix that. Like for me right now, I think my body type's weird because I always bump the bar just a little bit forward in all my lifts. So the bar is supposed to travel like in a straight line. It's supposed to travel in a straight line, but I think the as the weight gets heavier, like you're gonna start to notice like an S curve that goes up just because it gets that bar acceleration. But you kind of want your body to be as straight as possible and extended out as possible at the top. So I think that's what we're working on too. Plus, like my lockout kind of sucks for snatch a little bit. So like a lot of presses we've been doing that for a little bit until it gets stronger. But dude, man, you think you'd get like you're like, oh, this is the one. So you send it to your coach, he's like, no, this bro. I'd be like, dude, what the hell, man? You get maybe like one, like, all right, that was good. I was like, hell yeah. And you just screenshot that message, like, yeah, it's gonna go to my archives.
Dude, I think that's with any high level athlete though, because I've never heard someone who's like actually good at the sport just be like, yeah, I've got it figured out. There's no need for me to,
Yeah, no.
practice that. Whether it be like running, basketball, soccer, cycling, like anything. It's if you stop learning, if you stop trying to chase the learning, you're already going to be behind someone who is going to split the hairs, is going to, rate what you think a perfect rep of 8 out of 10. And you're like, well, shit, if I truly deep dive into this, it really is an 8 out of 10, but it's a really
Yeah.
good rep.
Yeah, I know. It's for the people that are like, oh, like they're not too in a sport, like, dude, that was the most perfect grip I've ever seen. And then in your head, you're like, no, that was kind of ass though. It's like, I don't know. I feel like the longer you're in the sport, the more you know what you did wrong. Like for me, like I could tell like this clean sucked. And then the other dude's like, dude, no, what are you talking about? I'm like, no, you don't understand, bro. If I send this to my coach right now, he's gonna roast me. So I'm just gonna delete this video real quick.
This
It's
one
easy
never
how it is,
happened.
man. It never happened. The rep never happened. If you delete the video, it's like, ah, I never did it.
It's never gets sent to them. What
Never got there.
when you're doing all this, because this is something that I think a lot of people get kind of stuck in. Yes, I see this a lot. We train a lot of team sport athletes, but baseball is a really big one. You have kids because there is so much art to throwing a baseball and hitting a baseball, right? There's so many minuscule things, just like Olympic lifting, but there's also the athletic component and just being strong and just getting the bar up. And like at the end of the day, if you get the bar up, it doesn't matter how it looks at the meet. If at the end of the day you strike the person out,
Yeah.
like, so how do you balance the minuscule stuff with the big stuff and like not getting lost in the weeds? Like what is that balance like when Olympic lifting, when they're like it's literally like such small things,
Yeah.
but if you hyper focus on those things, I feel like you can get lost in it and lose a lot of the other
Yeah.
good stuff that you're doing.
So luckily that my coach is like so experienced when we're going into meets, he'll just keep it to the most basic like cue to go. He's like, just keep your back straight. Like, he won't say anything else. He'll just say one thing. He'll be like, all right, cool. So I gotta focus on. So you don't want to stress out as you're lifting, but throughout the whole training cycle, dude, cues on cues on cues, like you're doing this, make sure you focus on that. But then once you're like, as you're getting closer to competition and it's almost like too late to fix. Like if you've been training like that the whole entire time and then no one said anything, it's like almost too late to fix that critique because your body's so used to it and it's the weight's been going up. You're kind of like you don't want to say anything about it unless it's like a crazy like factor that'll make the bar like increase like significantly. Then you want to say something about that. But usually if it's such a minuscule thing like for even cleans as heavy it is like the heaviest one I've done wasn't a full leg drive because I just wouldn't go, but the weight went up. So it's kind of like you can try and drive as much as you can, but sometimes you think you've done as much leg drive and you look at the video, you're like, dude, there was like no full extension on there, but the weight went up. So it's kind of like you're like, did I get the weight up? Yes. Is like the technique kind of bad? Probably, but if it's in competition, you're like, dude, count it. Mark me up. Three white
Mark it up,
lights.
put it on the board, baby.
Put it on the board, bro. Put it on the shelf, bro.
So what's the balance between like cues and like drills? You know what I mean? Like how
Yeah.
do you, because this is something like I think like when like it's okay to focus on a cue when it's a lighter weight, but then I feel like when I
Yeah.
get to like a heavier weight, it's like okay, I'm kind of just like if I'm focusing on a cue with the heavier weight, I'm gonna get bodied by that weight. Is there a balance of like the drill to get you to feel it and then you're just doing it with the heavier weight? Like what's the balance between those two?
Yeah, so with the cues, really, I think the cues is just mainly like a mental talk to yourself. You're like, just make sure you focus on that. For the drill aspect, I'm really just doing what's on the board. I know that when coming back into weightlifting, when I took that long break, my full leg extension was so ass. So we did high hang like cleans, like legit, like it just stays on the bar. He'll just give you the cue. He'll just say, extend the legs. And then you have no other option but to extend
Yeah.
fully because the bar has like nowhere else to go other than just like a little dip drive. So the high hang is a drill, but the cue is to drive the legs. So I think that's how I balanced it. Like usually like you don't even think about it. You're like, I'm just trying to get the bar up there. But then when it comes to the heavier weights, the more you've been drilling that one technique, usually they stay there for about like 2 weeks. It'll be like a 2 week drill on like the same training program the whole time. And then they'll switch it up once your body got used to it. And then once you do the full lift, it usually translate over. It's like weird. It's like some weird magic. I don't know.
No,
It's
but
weird to me. I'm
the,
like,
the
oh, that's
drill
weird. Yeah.
the drill is a good like those like the high hang things that we just had a guy on yesterday, Dane Miller was telling me to do no foot high hang because my hips, the ability for my hips to accelerate was bad and is like messing
Yeah.
up the lockout. He's like, just do some high hang like snatches and that's gonna fix it. And I was like, oh yeah, because I don't have it. Like you can't get the bar up unless you do what you need to do, right? You know, like you can tell
Yeah.
yourself it, but like if you're doing from that high hang, you don't have an option because if you don't do
Yeah.
that, you're gonna get absolutely bodied. And I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
dude, that's so right. Why did I not do that before?
Dude, my no foot standard is like so high just because my normal snatch and clean jerk is considered a no foot. But like for me and my coach, the no foot standard is literally like there's no heels coming off the ground. Like have you seen some of like well, there's like a couple of videos of me where like legit the bar just like you're gonna extend up, but your heels are still on the ground. And then the bar just flies up there. It's like a weird variation. And he was like, yeah, dude, no foot means no foot. And I was like, dude, what the hell? And then I don't know. Now I guess the standard for no foot for me and him is pretty high right now. It's legit like no heels off the ground, just leg drive and freaking get that bar up there.
Fuck, dude, if the heels coming off doesn't count as a no foot, I've never done a no
Yeah,
foot.
it doesn't count, man. The heels gotta stay on. That's why it's called no foot.
Shit, dude. I've
Unless
been
we
doing
gotta say no foot, no heel. I don't know.
yeah, I was gonna say I've been doing no toes, or just only toes. Oh, that sucks. That's how I've been doing all my no
Only
footers.
toes.
But I actually took my you were the first person to actually show me the no foot. I was like watching, I'm like, damn, he's not like jumping up. I kind of want to try
Yeah.
that. And then a guy named K Dot, who I also had on the podcast, he's a legendary. Like you would love
Oh,
his
dude, I think me and him are buddies on Instagram. I haven't mentioned him yet because I was like, this guy's pretty good. He's like super fast too. It's
dude, he's a
crazy.
goat. He you would love a conversation with him. He's the fucking man. He's so cool. But he was telling me to do no foots as well. And my no foot snatch is like 2 pounds away from my regular snatch. It's crazy. It's like pretty much the same thing, and it feels so much
Yeah.
better doing a no foot. Feels way less
You're
meatheadish.
getting that leg drive, dude. You have like no other option but to freaking use all your legs to get it up there.
Oh, yeah. Tristan, do
Usually
you have
that's
one?
how it works.
Oh, I thought that was a different finger. I saw the finger up there in there.
He's like, oh shit, bro.
Oh,
No, I was just picking my nose, bro. Don't worry about it.
he was just digging for some gold over there. Um, with the Olympic lifts, what do you think is the most valuable thing if you're like not competing? Like, do you think Olympic lifts are still a valuable tool to be used in the gym for either a gen pop or an athlete, regardless of
Yeah.
if you're training? Like, because like we had, I can't remember who was on the podcast, but they were talking about the difference between like athletes and gen pop using them and like training specifically for Oli lifts. Like how do you see that difference, and do you like what's the benefit of using Oli lifts for either, let's go gen pop, because the athlete answer is kind of like, yeah, you get more explosive, you do those things, but why would you recommend like a gen pop like weekend warrior type person to start doing some Olis?
I don't know. Well, so when I stumbled into weightlifting, because I was like, I'm like, no, I'd say I'm decent if I ever tried powerlifting. Like my numbers would be okay. Like I'd squat like five something, deadlift like five something. So my deadlift's ass, and
Same.
then I bench
Welcome
like
to the
three
club.
something too. But then like and when I was coming up in the sport, I was like, what are people like not doing? I think that's what I want to do. I was like, because when I was going to like the regular bodybuilding gyms, like, dude, you're on the squat rack right now. You're taking up all these space, and I was like, I wanted to change it up a bit. I was like, what's a lot of people not doing? Like, what's a different thing I can do? So that's why I switched to weightlifting. Like, I don't know. It is good for the explosive for like the athletes and everything like that. But I don't know. I just wanted to do something a little different than what other people were doing at the time. So that's probably why it stuck to me because I was like, not a lot of people could do this, but a lot of people could like. So a lot of people could like squat 500 pounds. I don't know the population on that, but like not a lot of people could clean and jerk like close to 360. So it's kind of like weird how that works. So it goes like to like the skill set, I guess. I guess like it's a skill to have, which is cool that you can do. I say it's like if you I feel like if you do weightlifting in like a public gym, they're gonna be like, oh, look at this ego lifter. And I'm like, no, dude, this is literally my sport, bro. This is literally what I have to do, bro. But I feel like it's like you're like, oh, this guy's showing off. I'm like, no, I actually have to do this. But that's why I kind of stray from like public gyms most of the time because I was like, this guy's just showing off. I'm like, no, man. It's like I legit have to be good at these two things. But
So
I think
for
that's how
for
I see it.
So for like the average person, like Austin was saying, how do they get like the correct technique or like the good guidance? Because even someone like who's an athlete, like you'll see in like at Pittsburgh, Division 1 athletic program, you'll see
Yeah.
athletes come in who are freak athletes and they're really bad at doing Olympic lifts. And so I can only imagine, the general population at LA Fitness coming in and some guys
Yeah.
like, you know what? Screw it. I'm doing clean and jerks today. And he's
Oh
good at
yeah.
he's good at other lifts. And so how do they
Yeah.
like how do you avoid just ego lifting a clean and jerk and doing it super
Oh man.
poorly?
I sometimes I feel so bad because you can tell when someone's like not they're like they're doing like clean and you're like this guy's not doing a clean today because he's like in like some crazy like procs. He's like, yeah, I'm just doing these to do them, and then I'm actually training, so I'm loading up like 300 on the bar. He has like a 25 on. Sometimes I feel bad. I'm like, dude, I'm not trying to like, I'm not trying to like put you on the spot, dude. This is like I really have to do this. But I think for me, like, if they ask for help, dude, I'm like, I'm feel free. Like, I won't like put it on. I'm like, hey man, you got to do this. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, dude, I don't want to feel like the gym dad where they're trying to fix people's form. But like, I like if they ask, man, like I'm all for it, man. I love the sport. I love helping people out. Like if you just want to like learn about like what we do, dude, just freaking come up to me. I hope I'm not like a RBF kind of guy at the gym. Like I'm usually quiet when I'm there. I'm like laser focused and all, but usually if like usually when you see someone else doing like the list, I like to just sit there and just give them like the nod, like, yeah, that's my boy right there. You see that? You see that clean he's doing? Because dude, not a lot of people do that. Not a lot of people do it. So when you see someone else doing like the things you're doing, you're like, oh hell yeah, dude, that's my boy right there.
Dude, you're the dude with
Yeah,
the the hoodie up, the big dude with the hoodie up
dude, yeah,
in the
dude,
corner,
I'm
and
in
as soon
demon
as you
mode
get
right
their
now.
approval, they're like, "Hell yeah, this is my guy. I made it. I made it. He
I'll give
gave
him
me
a
the
thumbs
nod.
up. Like that was good, bro. I
Fuck
don't know.
yeah, Nino gave me a
It's like
thumbs
a
up
cool
today."
thing to do. I get like, dude, I'm not gonna tell you like how excited I get. Like if I'm at like a local gym, if I'm like just training and I see someone else that like just throws on the bar and I see him hit that wide angle on the bar, I was like, oh, dude, he's not deadlifting today. And he
He's
snatches it. I was
not.
like, oh, it's my boy, dude. I was like, I get so excited. I'm like, oh hell yeah, dude. We're about to have a snatch off right now. He doesn't even know it. I'm just kidding.
Well, that's
No,
one
that's
of the
cool.
things too there with the Gen Pop, and I think this is something that like can just be okay. I think in the athletic sector, coming from the Olympic lifting world, it might be a little different, but from the athletic sector, cleans and ollies are either vastly overpromised with what they do or vastly underpromised in what they do. Like it's either you have a camp of Olympic lifts are completely worthless or it's Olympic lifts will make you to the NFL. It's like especially for a general pop person, there could just be a middle ground of you like doing them and they make you show up to the gym because they're fun to do, right? Like, and that's an okay reason to be doing an
Yeah,
exercise, right? Like, I
yeah,
just think there's so many times where it's like it's one camp or the other, one extreme or the other. It's like, man,
yeah,
if that makes them show up to the gym and they enjoy doing that and it gets them working out, you're doing a pull variation, you're getting a squat variation because you're only lifting, you
yeah.
get an overhead, like that's just good for you, man. If you like doing it, you can just like doing it, and that can be your reason for doing the exercise.
Yeah, man. There's like two ways to skin a cat. Like you could do power cleans or you could do the hex jumps with the weight on. It's kind of like almost like the same thing, except you're not throw it in the front rack and just throw it overhead. Like I see it like it's like two different things. It's literally two different ways to skin a cat. Like they both do the same thing, but it's just my sport just allows me to throw this over my head for some odd reason.
So you talked about your lockout sucking in a snatch.
Oh yeah.
My
Ass.
lockout is absolute ass, bro. I catch everything with a fucking like bent arm muscle head
Yeah.
here. Dane called me out for it yesterday, so I'm just gonna call myself out for it here. I was gonna call myself out yesterday, but I was
I
like,
would
I'm gonna leave
never
it be.
call you out, bro, unless you ask for it,
Well,
man.
I'm
I'm like,
calling
yeah.
myself out right now. How do you fix that, dude? Because it's driving me insane. I cannot catch with a straight arm. It's driving me nuts.
Yeah, man, the easiest thing to do is literally just snatch press, bro. Just freaking get that bar, freaking lock it out every single time. Put it on your back, start freaking do the shits into these, man, till it locks out. That or you could do what's a good one? Snatch balance. Snatch balance is a good one. You ever done snatch balance before?
Everybody's telling me to do a snatch balance. I've seen them. What's the thought process behind them? I've never actually had somebody explain the thought
I
process
think
behind
the
them.
snatch balance for me is kind of like I think so when I'm doing a snatch balance, like the main concern is like making sure that bar stays overhead and I'm locking like I'm just thinking like a strong punch overhead, right? So like when I'm going in there, I'm not thinking about pulling at all. It's literally I just have to do one thing. I just have to push this bar overhead and squat back up.
And
I
you're
don't know.
so
My
when you do a
cues
snatch
are so
balance,
easy.
you start with it on your back, and it's like
Yeah,
a drop catch underneath and press up, right? That's the snatch
yeah.
balance.
So I just press the fuck out of it, and then as soon as I'm in that hole in the bottom of the squat, I'm like going back up. That's all I gotta do.
And how does that line up like because this is what I'm working on like building out the like my program and like when do you implement snatch balances? Are you doing like your snatches first and then that's like an accessory lift later in the workout? Are you doing it to warm
Yeah.
up? Like what
So
how are you
usually
doing it?
sometimes they'll I think sometimes they'll put it as like a primer, like they'll do it before the lift, so that way your body's get ready to lock out like everything like that. Unless you like go straight into lifts cold. Usually me, I'm like so notorious for like doing the most minimal warm ups in the freaking world. Everyone's like, dude, you're not gonna stretch. I'm like, dude, do you not see me? You should not see me moving this bar right now. That is my warm up right now. Because I'll usually just go bar, like for clean jerk, I'll just go bar, put the reds on, and I'll be like, all right, we're good. Because I don't know. My body is weird though. I'd be like, why am I gonna warm up and I'll get tired, and then I'll get tired while I'm doing the lifts. And that's my opinion though. But I'd say, yeah, primers are really good if you like want to get the body primed and get it warmed up to do what it's got to do for that training session. But shit, in my opinion, I was like, I just don't want to get tired while I'm lifting. That's why I'm doing the most minimal warm ups in the world.
So we got Tristan with the gun in his background, and we got
Oh
you
yeah.
with all of these medals in your background. Talk to me about these medals. What do we got
Oh,
here?
these
What are
bad
we
boys,
repping here?
bro. I'm just
Yeah, look at those, dude. They'll flex on
dude,
us a
yeah.
little bit.
You know what's crazy though? My wife has more medals than me, dude, because she runs marathons. I just have my little right
Oh,
side. Yeah. I got my right. Dude, she's the freaking cardio queen over there. Dude, oh, so believe it or not, like she like her first time like getting into running, she's like, "Hey, I signed you up for a 5K. I've never ran in like
She
months.
signed you up?
Maybe a year. I haven't ran." And she's like, "Yeah, I signed you up for a 5K." Dude, we signed up. I was doing good for like quarter of a mile. After that, dude, I was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna slow down a bit." Dude, she dusted me. She freaking ran off. And then she was waiting for me at the finish line, dude. I was like, dude, what the fuck? Dude, and then after that, I was like, I'm not running with you anymore. So now she runs like half marathons, everything like that. So she like that's her thing. Running's her thing, and then I just do like the this lifting stuff.
Dude,
So yeah,
that's the
those are
perfect
mine
relationship
there.
though. You got the cardio and you got the meathead.
Yeah, I know. That's
Uh,
all. That's yeah.
from
Running
it.
like
Oh, from an
oh my
outside
god,
perspective, like what kind of gear do you wear? Like everything, for runners, they got their shoes, they got this kind of stuff. And like I'm not in this weightlifting world at all. Like, so how important are, the singlets, the knee braces, and like what do you all get to wear during competitions? And like what kind of crutches do you get to use during training? How important and how much does all that help?
oh
Dude,
yeah.
one second. On that too, talk to me about the bars because I've gone like 7 different places, and I swear to God, like some of these bars make the weight feel like half the weight, and some of the bars make the weight feel like double the weight. Like, talk to me about that too with the
Yeah,
gear.
I think dude, so I didn't know this for a while either. There are different types of bar. There's like I think for the weightlifting side, like the bar for weightlifting has more whip to it. So it has more bend to get like that to get like it bends more as you're accelerating up and it gives you that whip to get that bar accelerated going up and it like stays stagnant in the air for enough time to get you to fall underneath the bar or to pull yourself underneath the bar. But dude, I tried cleaning with a stiff bar. I was like, oh my God. Dude, the thing would like not budge. I just felt like I just bumped my groin into a brick wall or something like
Dude,
that.
I did that the other day. It
Shit
was
is
the worst. It was
crazy.
the worst. I was like, I am a
I
bot right
was
now. Like,
like,
this is
yeah,
horrible.
I was like, oh man, like so when I came back into the sport, believe it or not, like I was doing it wrong though. You're not. It's not supposed to be like a bump off the hip. It's supposed to like glide off it or graze off it. Dude, I used to bump that thing. I used to like hip thrust the shit out of that thing, and then it was so bad that like my whole pubic bone was like bruised. I put like pads in there when I'm at freaking the training. When I was training, dude, it looked like I had like a freaking bulge just like out of my pants. I was like, dude, you have no idea how this hurt, like how much this hurts right now. Like I have to put like a towel in there or something like that. But oh my, coming back into that, I was like, this is the worst feeling in the world.
dude, we
God,
might be actually the same person. Because last
dude,
week
man,
I could not take the beating. My hip was so fucking bruised. I put a
just
fucking
wear a
towel in
cup,
there.
bro.
I put a towel in there. I was like, bro, it looks like I'm wearing a fucking nut cup right now, but I
Yeah,
cannot
right.
stand. Like, it was so beat up.
Dude, it hurt. It was like the most painful thing in the world. And then like even though it was bruised up and I kept doing all the lifts, I was like, it's getting worse, dude. It's gonna get so bad. Oh my God. I remember that. Oh man, that hurt so bad. That was like the most painful training session in the world.
So you found a way. So now you don't do that anymore. It doesn't feel like that anymore.
No, luckily like my body has just gotten used to the beating, so I guess my pubic bones like fuck it, dude. Beat me up, man. I think
Like
well once you get
Tristan's
into the
taint
sport,
from
you kind of learn like
riding
you
the
don't
bike.
have to bump it off. Like it's not like an aggressive bump off the hips now. Now it just kind of glides up there, so it's a little more subtle, a little cleaner. So
Well, that's a good
man, I feel
technical
bad,
cue
bro.
because I really thought we were supposed to throw
Oh,
that thing off the hips, and that's something I've been trying to work
mhm.
on. I was like, bro, this fucking hurts
Yeah,
because
it is
like
just
when I would clean in high school, my like I just squatted it, like I would just throw it up and jump underneath it
yeah,
as fast as possible, and I would never like the bar
yeah,
would get
yeah.
so far away from me, and like I'm like watching some of these guys, I'm like, oh, their bar is super close. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna overemphasize that. And then like, as I've been doing that more, I'm like, my hips are gonna get destroyed. So now it's good to know that it's not like a thing you should
Dude,
actually
man.
emphasize.
Yeah, dude. A lot of people, yeah. That's why a lot of people kind of mess up. Even people that are like in the CrossFit community, like just bump the fuck out of it. Bump the fuck out of the bar. And I'm like, no. I mean, if you want to destroy your whole entire groin and whatnot, go for it. Might be my guess, but it's like I don't know. It's like a weird thing to get used to. I don't know. It took a little bit, so now my groin thanks me that I'm not doing it anymore.
That's
It's
kind of
rough.
legendary. All right, let's go some weird questions here.
Yeah.
I
Oh, what
have
was
I have
I
one.
think Tristan
Oh,
did,
you got a
yeah.
weird question right
Yeah,
away.
well, I
Let's
mean,
go.
biggest thing when you're saying you're doing like 3.5 hour sessions, are you eating in these sessions? Like, are you coming in? Like, do you have like pounds of
Hell
food?
yeah.
Yeah, like I want.
Hell yeah. I
What does
mean,
that
dude,
look like? Are
like,
you just munching through between
Bro, you
sets?
gotta you gotta
dude,
watch his video where
chicken,
he's eating a
dude,
piece of pizza at the bottom of a
yeah,
squat.
I've
dude,
seen
Rice
that, but I didn't.
Krispies. Oh man, I got Rice Krispies there. I got like two energy drinks. Sometimes my buddies will bring Sour Patch Kids. I got like Sour Patch Kids there. Sometimes, dude, if I'm at home, it's worse. I have like a bowl of rice with me and Spam or something like that. Dude, it's just I'm just
Dude,
vibing at the time because like I don't know, like it's kind of like powerlifting too. You're like just pull up the chair, sit down for at least 30 minutes, but I don't know.
dude,
I like to
that's
munch on when I'm
cycling in
doing it
common
too.
right there, dude. Cycling, there's a whole page called gas station food, and people like, go to the gas stations and just like, I'll have this pumpkin spice donut with these Sour Patch
Oh
Kids
hell
mixed
yeah,
with
dude.
4 sets of Twizzlers. And there's the common
Oh
ground
yeah, dude.
between the weightlifting sport and the weirdos on the road.
Oh man, my go-to meal for weightlifting, just dude, is just caffeine, nicotine. That's my go-to right there, bro. Maybe some Rice Krispies, maybe some Rice Krispies too. But dude, if I have caffeine, nicotine. Oh, I'm golden. I'll be sitting there all day. I'll be like, yeah, we're good.
This is
That's my
this,
day.
this is the best day ever. You're
It's
just
the best day ever,
riddled
dude.
with dopamine running through the
Yeah,
system.
you miss all your lifts. Like, oh, I don't care, dude. I'm good. I'm good.
Throw throw another piece of nicotine gum in the
Oh
mouth
yeah,
and
we're
you're
good,
set.
dude.
What's the next like big thing you got going on? Is it a piece of content? Is it this meet? Like what's the future look like for Nino?
Yeah, so the future for weightlifting right now is a little it's right now like since I'm gonna have to stop competing for like 2 years. I'm I'm trying to go to dental hygiene school, believe it or
Oh,
not,
hell yeah,
next
dude.
year. Yeah, dude, I'm trying to make that guap, bro. Yeah, so I'm probably gonna, depending on how the school is, like if I have time, I'll compete there because weightlifting's pretty big in Florida because that's where the school's at.
Okay.
So it's pretty big over there. If I have time, dude, content's gonna be all day. I have a home gym. As long as I can put stuff my weights on, content's gonna keep pumping out. But I think yeah, my meet coming up, they'll probably be my last for a little bit, but content's always gonna be there, I think. I could always do some crazy stuff with it. I already got it. It only takes like maybe 1 hour. Setup is like the worst part. Dude, you know how long it took me to like bring all the weights inside the house in like the squat rack? Dude, so, I was so tired, dude. I was like, I don't even know if I can squat this right now. Like
It's a
that's the hardest
2-day
part. But
process.
luckily,
One day
like,
set
yeah,
up, one day
dude,
do
yeah.
it.
Yeah. Well, luckily my whole list is like pretty good. So I'll just keep chopping down the list. Usually it's like when I have time, so usually I'll be like, oh, I haven't posted in a while, like a good content. So I'll just pick one of the few in there and I'm like, all right, it's time. It's time for the world to see. That's usually how it works right now. But it's gonna be fun though. Hopefully I can continue to weightlift out there, but I'll probably stick with it. I'll be like, oh no, I gotta study, but then here I am in the gym for 3 hours.
Yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
good little mental break
Yeah,
for
no
it.
big deal.
Are you gonna get into the coaching side of it if ever?
Um, I think I might maybe like I wouldn't say like a full on coaching. Like I'll probably be like a guidance counselor if you really think about it. Because I'm not too good at like programming it just because it's just too much work for my brain. I'm like I don't understand because like my coach when my coach programs, I literally text him like because he's supposed to usually come in on Sunday. And I'm like, yo, bro, where's my program at, bro? And he's like, dude, my brain is fried right now. And then when I actually tried programming one time, I was like, I see what you mean. Because you have to like, there's like crazy phases in there. Like there's stuff I don't even understand. Like there's a like a there's like a realization phase. There's like a I don't know, optimization phase or something like that. There's like so many phases. I was like, what is that, dude? What does that even mean,
I just
bro?
want
And
to
I was
live,
like,
bro.
dude, yeah, I was like, I'm just trying to lift stuff and throw it over my head, bro. Crazy. It's like I'm in a sport where having a good snatch is an Olympic sport. That's crazy right now. So I was like, I don't know. But I think in the far future, maybe I'll get like my weightlifting level 1 and I'll just like help people out. I don't really have a sight on like taking a full on coaching just because it probably would take a lot of my time. But I mean, maybe in the future when I'm like a little done competing, it's time to pass on the torch to everyone else. Hopefully my kids like decide to weightlift. Dude, I've been trying to get my kids to weightlift, bro. I've even bought them like a toy barbell. I was like, hey, you should go lift that. She's like, no, I wanna do cartwheels. So like, no, 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 no. You want to lift barbell. That's what you want to do. You don't want to do this gymnastics. You want to lift this barbell. But hopefully when I'm done with it, maybe I'll do a coaching gig, but it's a sport I love. Hopefully I can give back to it. So maybe a coaching thing would be pretty cool in the future. But right now, I'll probably just want to vibe it out, start lifting. So that's all I want to do.
Fuck yeah, dude. Well, I appreciate you coming on and hitting your
Oh,
first
dude, man,
podcast with
hell
us,
yeah,
dude. That was awesome.
yeah. I know. I've been trying. I was like, oh man, our schedules are so off. It was
Well,
like,
I know.
but at
Well,
least you got it,
early, so when we were doing we were full softball season, you were like, yeah, Tuesday's the day that works for me. I'm like, fuck, Tuesday's the only day that doesn't work for me. I was like,
dude. Yeah. How
fuck.
how was softball? Is it like that league that like you could like dress up as whatever you want, or is it like a real softball league?
Depends. So like leagues are like beer leagues. Like they're chill. But like
Oh, it's a beer league.
the weekend
Not for him.
no. Yeah,
Not
yeah.
for
Oh,
So
this
like
guy.
we play beer league, but then so like this weekend we're going to a world tournament in Vegas where like everything is paid for
dude, hell yeah.
to go play slow pitch softball in Vegas. I mean, it's crazy. There's such a dichotomy of like it's same as Olympic lifting. Like people are just doing it for casual fun, chill, and then there's
Those look
total
fun though.
fucking psychos that like me that just for some reason got bit by the bug.
Dude, I was
Austin's
so
just
bad at
mad.
baseball.
Austin's just mad that some 40-year-old with a beer gut and two knee braces is going to absolutely house him this weekend, and he's going to be fuming.
Dude,
Dude, it
man,
is
I don't even feel bad for you, man. There's a 12-year-old girl in China that's freaking probably lifting more than me, bro.
it is well at least
No
the 12-year-old
shade.
looks like an athlete, dude. There's legit I have seen it before. A dude will
Cigarette
have
mouth.
a cigarette in his fucking mouth in like a national tournament and just is the best player on the field. And you're like, bro,
That's peak male performance, bro. What are you
peak
talking
male
about, man?
performance times 1,000. I watched this. I'm like, dude, this I've trained 7 days a week for this tournament. You have never entered a gym and you hit the ball better than I do. I'm gonna like this is the
He's
worst
got
thing
that
ever.
dad strength, dude. I don't know. It's probably all in the belly, bro. He's like, I'm gonna attach this bat to my gut, and it's gonna generate so much power out this field right now.
That is one thing that I have noticed is like the feel of a good Olympic lift and the feel of a good softball swing. It's like the combination of like ease with like power. It's such a cool like crispy feeling. I'm addicted to that
Dude,
feeling
yeah.
100%.
Shoot, sometimes it doesn't happen, sometimes it does in weightlifting, but usually the days it goes, you're like, hell yeah, bro. I'm never quitting. And then when it doesn't go well, you're like, all right. I text my coach, hey, I might quit the sport, letting you know right now.
I'm retiring
Yeah.
tomorrow.
I'm retiring, bro. I'm gonna lie, bro. Status didn't go good. I'm probably gonna retire today.
All of the videos are deleted.
Oh, dude. Oh, you have no idea how many like lifts are just like, delete that. None of these counted. This whole session's done. I'm just gonna do it again tomorrow. It's crazy.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day and joining us for
brother.
this, dude. This was awesome.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Thank you guys for listening. Keep chopping wood.
All right, brother.
Thank you for listening. Join us next week as we dive down another rabbit hole. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a 5-star rating. Follow us on Instagram at Austin Jochum to stay updated on future podcast guests. Keep chopping wood.